Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Sound Room. We're coming to you live from Oakland, California, and we're happy to bring you yet another streaming show. Hope you are well, and we're getting very excited about the way things are improving and hoping we might be able to do some performances with you in the room sometime before the year is up. So, just hoping everything goes well. Tonight is a very, very, very special night. I happen to love Marina Crouse, and I've loved her for a long time doing the blues. But tonight she's bringing to us something very, very special. She's doing a program of Boleros with a wonderful group. We're kind of jokingly calling them Tres Mascarados because they're all in masks for obvious reasons during COVID. So we're really excited about this show tonight. In many ways, listening to them warm up here, it's like a prelude to Valentine's Day. I'm not sure it could get any more romantic than this. So please hang out and enjoy the show. During the show, you'll see a ticker go through with ways to contribute to the band. Please, we rely on you to be able to donate and help support live music. And if you'd like to support the program, there's another button that goes directly to Bay Area Jazz and Arts, which is the nonprofit that runs this sound room. So without further ado, Marina Crouse.
Ya no estás más a mi lado, corazón. En el alma solo tengo soledad. Y si ya no puedo verte, porque Dios me hizo quererte para hacerme sufrir más. Siempre fuiste la razón de mi existir. Adorarte para mí fue religión. Y en tus besos encontraba el amor que me brindaba, el calor y la pasión. Es la historia de un amor como no hay otro igual, que me hizo comprender todo el bien, todo el mal, que le dio luz a mi vida, apagándola después. Ay, qué vida tan oscura, sin tu amor no viviré. Es la historia de un amor. Siempre fuiste la razón de mi existir. Adorarte para mí fue religión. Y en tus besos encontraba el amor que me brindaba, el calor y la pasión. Es la historia de un amor como no hay otro igual, que me hizo comprender todo el bien, todo el mal, que le dio luz a mi vida, apagándola después. Ay, qué vida tan oscura, sin tu amor no viviré. Es la historia de un amor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and welcome to the Sound Room. I'm Marina Crouse, and I'm so happy that you're here to join us today. I'm super excited about this new project that I've been working on with Danny Caron, who played guitar just now. And in our band today, too, who I'm calling the Tres Mascarados, the three masked ones. We also have Ruth Davies on bass. Yeah. And Mr. Jon Otis on percussion and conga. I'm very lucky to have them, and I want to start by saying thank you to Caron and for having us here at the Sound Room, and for all the hard work that you've been doing for the community, the music community, and giving us still a place to play and to, you know, to be with all of you out there in music land that's now all virtual. I wanted to take a couple minutes just to explain. A lot of you know me as a blues singer. But I also sometimes sing songs in Spanish, which many of you have heard. And I guess about a year and a half ago, things are going slow because of COVID. But I approached Danny about working on a project of all songs in Spanish, and mostly boleros, like the song I just sung, which was called Historia de un Amor, which was written by Carlos Alamaran, who is a Panamanian writer. And boleros are, I guess they're sort of like the jazz standards of the Spanish-speaking world. I don't know if that's the correct exact categorization, but boleros are romantic songs, very romantic songs, often very slow, that have been popular since the 30s and the 40s and continue to be very popular in the Spanish-speaking world for people of all ages, actually. Kids still grow up hearing them, and older people still dance to them, and they play them at parties. And the collection of songs that I chose for today's show are really a lot of songs that I grew up hearing, played at parties at my grandmother's house, and sitting on the floor and looking at the albums and wishing I was the ladies in the album and singing along. So all of these songs, I think almost all of them, except maybe one, are songs that I grew up hearing, but never really sang before we started this project. And so they're all very near and dear to my heart. And I'll stop here and there and tell you a little bit about some of the songs and where they come from. The impetus, I think, of this show really was this very popular album called Amor, which Edie Gourmet sang in with the Trio Panchos, which are a famous trio of guitar players from Mexico. And Edie Gourmet, who was married to Steve Gourmet, who was very popular in English-speaking circles also, she's actually a Sephardic Jew, which means that her family came from Spain and they were Jewish, and so she grew up speaking Spanish, which a lot of people didn't know. And when they approached her to do the album, she thought it was a great idea. And so I grew up listening to Edie Gourmet and the albums that she made with the Panchos. So a lot of these songs were on that first album called Amor. So the next song that we're going to do is called La Última Noche. I have my history notes here, and it's written by Bobby Collazo, who's a Cuban, and it was written in 1946. So I'm going to give you the dates just so you have an idea about the time frame. These songs are still very popular and sung by a lot of people. Hope you enjoy. La última noche que pasé contigo, yo quiero olvidarla, pero no he podido. La última noche que pasé contigo, hoy quiero olvidarla por mi bien. La última noche que pasé contigo, la llevo guardada como fiel testigo de aquellos momentos en que fuiste mío. Hoy quiero borrarla de mi ser. ¿Por qué te fuiste aquella noche?
so much. Thank you. I'm not going to lie. I miss those applause. Do you guys miss the applause? Yes, it's so nice. Even though we have a very small audience here, I'm so appreciative. And I know that out there in TV, YouTube, Facebook land, you're all watching along, and I'm so appreciative, and I'm so glad you're here. The next song that we're going to do is called Cuando Vuelva a Tu Lado, and it means whenever I might return to your side. And it was written by a Mexican writer, a woman named Maria Graver, and written in 1959, and won a Grammy, actually. And what's interesting about this song is that this song ended up being What a Difference a Day Makes. It was originally written in Spanish by Maria Graver, and a lot of people don't know that because What a Difference a Day Makes is a very popular song. The words in English have nothing to do with the words in Spanish. Completely different song, which I think is interesting too. But Maria Graver was a very prolific songwriter. She wrote over 800 songs, and they were very popular, and she lived a lot of her life in New York after moving from Mexico. Anyway, this is probably her most famous song, just because it was famous also in English. In Spanish, it's much sadder.
Cuando vuelva a tu lado, no me niegues tus besos, el amor que te he dado, no podrás olvidar. No me preguntes nada que no ha de explicarte. El beso que negaste ya no lo puedes dar. Cuando vuelva a tu lado y estés solo conmigo, las cosas que te digo no podrás repartir. Por compasión, une tu labio al mío y estréchame en tus brazos, y cuentan los latidos de nuestro corazón. Cuando vuelva a tu lado y estés solo conmigo, las cosas que te digo no podrás repetir. Por compasión, une tu labio al mío y estréchame en tus brazos, y cuentan los latidos de nuestro corazón. De nuestro corazón.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That song also appeared on the album that I mentioned called Amor with Edie Gourmet. So most of these songs I heard for the first time sung by Edie Gourmet when I was just a wee girl. Not that long ago, right? Let me look at my set list here. The next song that we're gonna do actually was done for the second album that Edie did with the Panchos, and this album was called Más Amor, so love and more love. And what I like the sound of this song because it's got a kind of 60s feel or 70s feel. And this was the one song that Edie Gourmet and Steve Gourmet wrote together for the album, because most of the other songs were covers. So this is a song that they wrote together to put on the second album, and it's called Más Amor. No problem. Más amor, oh canto de mi corazón. Más amor, te amo y esa es la razón. Quédate, acércate a mí y besarme y prométeme, mas nunca separamos. Más amor, mi vida vivo para ti y para ti haría lo imposible para siempre, ni pensando ni comprendo lo que nos pasó. Más amor, sin tu amor yo no puedo más vivir. Ni pensando ni creyendo lo que nos pasó. Más amor, más amor, sin tu amor yo no puedo más vivir. Sin tu amor yo no puedo más vivir. It's Mr. Danny Caron on guitar. Oh, sounds so good. I'm so excited because, as I mentioned, this is a project I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I was doing some research on the Bolero, and as I said, it became popular in the 30s and 40s, and one of the interesting things that I found out was there was a radio program. Now I'm going to forget what the name of it is, but there was a radio program in the 30s that used to be broadcast from the United States and was broadcast all up and down South America and through Mexico and Central America. And these songs were probably 90% of what they played, boleros, and became very popular, but also were very popular in the US. And if you think about it, there were a lot of artists who recorded some of these songs in Spanish, like Nat King Cole. I think he made an album, or maybe two, in Spanish. And I found that even one of the songs Eartha Kitt sang, and some of those people that were popular during the 50s and 60s were singing some of these songs, even though they didn't speak Spanish and they had no idea what they were singing, which, you know, happens all the time. But when I started going down that rabbit hole, the YouTube rabbit hole of Nat King Cole and his Spanish songs, it was really entertaining. So I encourage you to take a look, because it's really kind of fascinating. He did a lot of songs in Spanish. Anyway, the next song that we're going to do is called La Media Vuelta, and this was written by Jose Alfredo Jimenez Sandoval. And I want to tell you a little bit about the story. The first line is Te vas porque yo quiero que te vaya. And I actually use this song in my classes sometimes. My day job is I'm a Spanish teacher, and the whole song is full of the subjunctive. So sometimes I use it to show my students how to learn about the subjunctive. And one of the things about the subjunctive, I know y'all didn't know you were going to get a grammar lesson today, but one of the things about the subjunctive is that we use it in Spanish to talk about things that are doubtful, or you're unsure, or things that are what we say pendiente, like they're dependent on something else happening. So there's all this sort of insecurity and doubt and feelings of insecurity or not sure. And the song is actually something like that. So the first line that I told you, Te vas porque yo quiero que te vayas, is you're leaving today because I want you to go. But the singer says, a la hora que yo quiera te detengo, but at any time that I want, I'm going to stop you. And I know she says that you're missing my love and affection, because whether you like it or not, I'm your girl. And she tells her lover, go out into the world, meet a lot of people, have other people kiss you so you can compare it to me. And if you find someone that loves you more than I do and that's better for you, I'll just turn around and go off into the sunset. And that's what media vuelta means. It means I'll do a half turn and walk out into the sun. Yeah, I got goosebumps. It is cold in here, but I got goosebumps too. So this is part of why I really love this song, because it's this great story, you know, about, well, you know, you go and do what you need to do, but I'm pretty sure you're going to come back to me. So this is La Media Vuelta. A la hora que yo quiera te detengo. Yo sé que mi cariño te hace falta, porque quieres o no, yo soy tu dueña. Yo quiero que te vayas para el mundo. Yo quiero que conozcas mucha gente. Yo quiero que te besen otros labios, para que me compares hoy como siempre. Y si encuentras un amor que te comprenda y te sientas que te quiere más que nadie, entonces yo daré la media vuelta y me iré con el sol cuando muera la tarde.
media vuelta y miré con el sol cuando muera la tarde. Entonces yo iré la media vuelta y miré con el sol cuando muera la tarde. Te vas porque yo quiero que te vayas.
Thank you. Just wanna, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just wanna remind you that was Danny Caron on guitar. And yes. And Miss Ruth Davies on bass. Yes. And Mr. Jon Otis on conga and percussion. I can't see you, but I can hear you back there. and it's a miracle kind of that I remember their names. I love them all very dearly, but I'm very bad with names. And Ruth whispered in my ear that I earlier was talking about Edie Gourmet and Steve Gourmet, but it's not Steve Gourmet, it's Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. How emasculating is that? That's awful. I used to be married, and I remember long, long ago, but I never changed my name, and my ex-husband used to get so mad when people would call him Mr. Crouse. Sorry, Steve. So moving along on our little list here, this song, I'm so excited to sing this song and tell you a little story about this song. This song is called Sálvame, and it means, it's a command, it means save me. And this song, actually, I didn't grow up hearing. This song is written, actually, I never was able to find out who it was written by because of the way I found it, I think. And it's sung by a woman named Olguita Elizondo, who I'd never heard of before. And I'm not sure how many of you, probably a lot of you, have ever heard of the Arhuli Foundation. Arhuli Foundation that's was started by Chris, I'm going to say his name, Strackwitz. And Mr. Strackwitz has been, for over 60 years, collecting all kinds of music. And he went into, the foundation that he established, Arhuli Foundation, went into a partnership, I think with UCLA, to create something called the Frontera Collection. And the Frontera Collection is actually the largest collection of vernacular recordings of Mexican, Mexican-American, and other Latin American artists' music. And they are digitalizing the entire collection, and I think have been for many years. And you can go on to YouTube and look up Frontera Collection, and it's really just an insane amount of music. And when I was looking for songs to do, I used to just put the Bolero section, because there's all kinds of music. There's ranchera and cumbia and all kinds of music, but I'd put the Bolero section on and just listen while I cooked or cleaned house, and have listened to just literally hundreds and hundreds of songs. Many I'd heard before, but many I hadn't. And this was one of the, what I call the jewels that I found, because for whatever reason, this song, as soon as I heard it, I just loved it. And so again, it's a very romantic song, and the woman who's singing, which today will be me, says, I'm afraid to love you because then I might lose you. So if you can be my salvation, save me.
Tengo miedo de quererte y después un día perderte, vida mía. Tengo miedo del fracaso, que tu amor no me haga caso y me muero por ti. Mi amor siempre te ha querido, pero tú nunca has comprendido mi pena. Y es por eso que te digo que mi amor amor está perdido por ti. Si tú crees en el amor, tú serás mi salvación. Ven, sálvame. Y si quieres tú mi amor, enseguida te lo doy. Compréndeme, mi amor siempre te ha querido y tú nunca has comprendido mi pena. Y es por eso que te digo que mi amor está perdido por ti. Si tú crees en el amor, tú serás mi salvación. Ven, sálvame. Y si quieres tú mi amor, enseguida te lo doy. Compréndeme, mi amor siempre te ha querido y tú nunca has comprendido mi pena. Y es por eso que te digo que mi amor está perdido por ti, por ti.
Thank you so much. And go check out the Arhuli collection because it's really cool. There's just a lot of really cool stuff there. This next song. So this next song, my grandmother, who passed away several years ago, she lived to be quite old, actually. My great-grandmother lived to be 101, and we called her Granny Goose. That's a whole other story. We don't have time for that. But my grandma Consuelo, we called her Connie because she didn't like Consuelo. But my grandma Connie had, one of those stereos that were really popular kind of in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and they looked like a big console. Like it was really a piece of furniture, and you would lift up the big wooden door, and inside would be the turntable and the speakers, and she had a place for records in there. And my sister and I, when we were little, and there were parties, and everybody was drinking and dancing and doing all those adult things that we weren't allowed to do, we would pull the albums out and lay on the floor and look at them. And this song was written by a man named Armando Manzanero, who was also a very prolific songwriter. And this song, like Cuando Vuelva a Tu Lado, became It's Impossible. So, which I don't know who made It's Impossible famous. I want to say Frank Sinatra, but I don't think it is Frank Sinatra. So someone out there has to do the homework for that. But this is the original song. And again, the words in Spanish have nothing to do with the words in English. So it's not a direct translation. The song is called Somos Novios, which means we are lovers. And Perry Como, that was going to be my second guess. So Perry Como made that. Thank you. We have my researchers here on the side. And this album, the singer was Vicky Carr. And Vicky Carr sang a lot of stuff in English, but she also did a couple of songs in Spanish. And it was my favorite because the album, in the days of albums, it would open up. And it was a picture of her in a beautiful, Spanish dress with the thing in her hair and the veil and the castañettes. It was very, very dramatic. And my sister and I would just look at this, for hours and listen to the songs and sing along. And so this was my favorite song from that album by Vicky Carr.
Somos novios, pues los dos sentimos mutuo amor profundo. Y con eso ya ganamos el más grande de este mundo. Nos amamos, nos besamos y como novios nos deseamos y hasta a veces sin razón y sin motivo nos enojamos. Somos novios, mantenemos un cariño limpio y puro y como todos ya programamos el momento más oscuro para hablarnos, para darnos el más dulce de los besos, recordar de qué color son los cerezos. Sin hacer más comentarios, somos novios. Somos novios, mantenemos un cariño limpio y puro. Y como todos, procuramos el momento más oscuro para hablarnos, para darnos el más dulce de los besos. Recordar de qué color son los cerezos. Sin más comentarios, somos novios. Siempre novios. Somos novios.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I have to say, you guys are the best audience. And I'm trying to hear you clapping out there in Facebook and YouTube land. Am I supposed to say something about contributions? I can. But you know, I have a bad memory, so I think at the bottom of the screen, it will tell you how you can give and contribute. If you're enjoying yourself, if you got a little, goosebump or found yourself swaying, I always say that's love. And you should express your love through donations. That's how we can feel your love. Other ways too, comments and just to know that you're watching and sharing while we're doing the live stream, that's also great. Watch parties and whatnot. And I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say that, although I don't mean to, but we miss you, people out there. We miss you. We miss playing for you. We miss seeing your faces, hearing the sounds you make in the audience, like, oh, and the claps and the smiles and just the warmness. I may not be speaking for you in this regard, but the warmness. And I don't mean just the expression, like the warm expression. I mean like the sweat, like when you're in a room with people and you're exchanging this kind of energy, there is like a warmth, at least for me, that feels like an exchange. And I know we all miss that. I really miss it. So I haven't been doing much during the pandemic, music-wise, but I'm so happy to be here and so happy to share this with you, especially because it's our new little project. So so thank you for tuning in, and even if this isn't what you expected, I hope you enjoy it, and just know that I miss you. And look forward to the day when we can all be together again. Okay, we're just gonna move on our list here. I have my list here. Here's the one of the few songs that I actually almost always sing on my gigs. So this is familiar. This song was written by a gentleman named Álvaro Carrillo, and he's a Mexican composer who grew up in Oaxaca, which is the southern part of Mexico, which has a very high indigenous population comparatively to Mexico. And he was also a very prolific songwriter. I'm going to sing another song of his a little bit later. And I think he wrote over 300 or 400 songs. This song, which is really quite well known, was written in 1964. And it's been covered by so many people. And I did find in my research that there actually, as recently as 2016, it was covered by a group called, I'm looking at my notes, EXO-K, which is a South Korean band. In 2016, performed this for some global music festival. So when I say that this song is really well known and that people sing it, they actually sing it all over the world. And then, of course, I went down another rabbit hole where I saw them singing it in the Philippines, in Korea, and all kinds of Asian countries. And I thought, that's the last place I thought they'd be singing boleros. But they're singing them there, too. So this song is called Sabor a mí, and it means the taste of me.
Tanto tiempo disfrutamos de este amor, nuestras almas se acercaron tanto así, que yo guardo tu sabor, pero tú llevas también sabor a mí. Si negaras mi presencia en tu vivir, bastaría con abrazarte y conversar. Tanta vida yo te di que por fuerza tienes ya sabor a mí. No pretendo ser tu dueña, no soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad. De mi vida doy lo bueno, soy tan pobre que otra cosa puedo dar. Pasará más de 1000 años y muchos más. Yo no sé si tenga amor la eternidad, pero allá tal como aquí, en la boca llevarás sabor a mí. No pretendo ser tu dueña, no soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad. De mi vida doy lo bueno, soy tan pobre que otra cosa puedo dar. Pasará más de 1000 años y muchos más. Yo no sé si tenga amor la eternidad, pero allá tal como aquí, en la boca llevarás sabor a mí, sabor a mí.
you so much. Y'all are so good to me. We just come every Saturday and like hang out and sing for you. Oh, that would be great. Anyway, let's see. I'll keep going down my journey. Of course, that song, like I said, has been recorded by everyone. I sort of call it, I could be breaking a lot of rules and upsetting people. I haven't really checked in, but to me, that song is like, it's like the Spanish version of Summertime. You know, it's a song everyone has a connection to, everybody covers, they do their own thing, but it's like timeless, you know? I know some people don't feel that way, but I feel that way about this, about Summertime. Yes. So the next song is also a song that appeared on the album Amor with Iri Gourmet and Los Trios Panchos, and it's called Piel Canela. And piel canela, piel is skin, and canela is cinnamon. So it talks about the skin that is the color of cinnamon. And it's the first line I like to share because I don't know who speaks Spanish. Que se queda en el infinito sin estrella. It's a whole description of all the things that could happen. Que se queda en el infinito sin estrella. That infinity remains without stars, or that the wide ocean will lose its immensity, its grandeur, but the blackness of your eyes that never dies, and the caramel color or cinnamon color of your skin stays exactly the same. Everything will be all right. Que se quede el infinito sin estrellas, o que pierda el ancho mar su inmensidad, pero el negro de tus ojos que no muera, y el canela de tu piel se quede igual. Si perdiera el arco iris su belleza, o las flores su perfume y su color, no sería tan inmensa mi tristeza como aquella de quedarme sin tu amor. Me importas tú y tú y tú y solamente tú y tú y tú. Me importas tú y tú y tú y nadie más que tú. Importas tú y tú y solamente tú y tú y tú. Me importas tú y tú y tú y nadie más que tú. Importas tú y tú y tú y solamente tú y tú y tú. Me importas tú y tú y tú y nadie más que tú. Thank you so much. We have a couple more tunes for you. The time went by pretty fast. This next, second to the last tune that we're going to do is also another tune written by the same gentleman who wrote Sabor a mí, and it's called Amor Mío, and which means my love. all very romantic. This song, actually, as I had mentioned earlier, I had contacted Danny, I don't know, a year and a half maybe ago or something. And you know, when you start up a new project, you got to align everything, make sure everybody's got some time to put aside. And we started working on it. And for many of you out there and in here for sure, you know that a couple of years ago I put out an album on Little Village Foundation label. And the album's called Never Too Soon, still available. And on that album, I actually sang Sabor a mí and had a couple other songs in Spanish that normally aren't in Spanish. And Jim Pugh is the founder of that foundation, and he's one of the producers on the record. And I think he was at my house, pre-COVID, for some kind of barbecue. Maybe Kevin Burt was visiting, and him and his wife usually stay with me when they come to town. Kevin Burt, also really great. You should check out if you don't know who he is. Long story short, somehow Jim heard me saying to someone else that I was going to start this project with Danny, and he went, "Wait, what are you doing?" And and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do this thing with Danny." And anyway, like I said, long story short, he decided that we should make a record. So we started working on it and recorded a few songs, but then the pandemic hit, and so we put it to the side. But we're probably going to pick it up again very soon. So this song, Ruth is playing on the recording that we did, and Danny will play eventually. And I just love this song. So I hope you enjoy it and look forward to it. Hopefully a record coming out in the summer. I don't even know what the name of the record will be. I haven't thought about any of those things, but you'll hear from me on Facebook. So I hope you enjoy it. It's called Más Amor. I mean, Amor Mío. I'm sorry. You know me and the names. It's all so much amor, you know. So much amor everywhere. It's hard to keep track. Amor Mío. More love, my love.
Amor mío, tu rostro querido no sabe guardar secretos de amor. Ya me dijo que estoy en la gloria de tu intimidad. No hace falta decir que me quieres, no me vuelvas loca con esa verdad. No lo digas, no me hagas que llore de felicidad. Cuánta envidia se va a despertar, cuántos ojos nos van a mirar. La alegría de todas mis horas prefiero pasarla en la intimidad. Olvidaba decir que te amo con todas las fuerzas que el alma me da. Quien no ha amado, que no diga nunca que vivió jamás. Cuánta envidia se va a despertar, cuántos ojos nos van a mirar. La alegría de todas mis horas prefiero pasarlas en la intimidad. Olvidaba quien no ha amado, que no digan nunca que vivió jamás.
Thank you so much. Sir Danny Caron on guitar. Miss Ruth Davies on upright bass. And Mr. Jon Otis over here on conga. We got one more song for you. The last song, and I'm Marina Crouse, in case sometimes I do forget my own name. The last song we're going to do is actually not a bolero. It's a kind of a folk song, and it's a song a lot of people also record, and it's based on a children's tale. You know, you're old when you tell stories and your kids are like, "Oh my God, that's so awful." Like, we don't do that anymore, Mom. And I grew up hearing this story, and the song is called La Llorona. And La Llorona is the crying woman or the weeping woman. And she's kind of like a mythological figure. And I believe the story is told not only in Mexico, but for sure Central America, and I'm not sure about in South America, but I do know that in Mexico and Central America, this is a story that your grandparents tell you, or, I mean, most of us are of a certain age in the room and probably out there, but, you know, when I was growing up, my parents talked about the boogeyman. They're like, clean your room or the boogeyman's gonna get you, or, you know, all these scary things out in the world, and now, you know, everyone's so PC. They're like, don't scare my kid, don't tell them bad things. And I'm like, oh, my mom and dad made me do a lot of stuff because of the boogeyman. So when I told this, I had a book and told the story to my kids, and they were like, we're gonna have nightmares. And I'm like, no. It's a very like Mexican thing, La Llorona. But the story goes that this woman who had children was married to the love of her life. And there's a lot of different versions of the story, but this is the gist of it. And he left her. And he left her with the children, destitute and brokenhearted. And she was so grief-stricken and so destroyed. This is the dark part. She ends up drowning her children in the river. Yeah, I know. And then dying herself. And then spends the rest of eternity roaming the earth, crying, looking for her children. My guess is that this story is probably much older. It probably comes from actual like Greek mythology, or because it seems to me that I've heard a lot of stories that are similar to this. But this is the story of La Llorona. And the song, it's a very simple folk song. Actually, people write new lyrics to it. I probably found 36 sets of lyrics, like different verses. 36 sets of verses. So you can create a story by mixing up all the different verses so that it's always a little bit different, and then focuses on certain things that you want to focus on. So I've always wanted to sing this song, and I've never sang this song in public, so I hope you enjoy it. It's kind of a classic song, and even though it's a sad story, it's kind of timeless.
Las flores del campo santo, no sé qué tienen las flores, Llorona, las flores del campo santo. Y cuando de mí, llorona, llorona, tú eres mi yunca. Me quitarán de quererte, llorona, pero olvidarte nunca. Me quitarán de quererte, llorona, pero de olvidarte nunca. Todos me dicen el negro, llorona, negro pero cariñoso. Todos me dicen el negro, llorona, negro pero cariñoso. Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante pero sabroso. Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante pero sabroso. Ay de mí, llorona, llorona, de Campo Liro. Ay de mí, llorona, llorona, llorona del Campo Liro. El que no sabe de amores, llorona, no sabe lo que es martirio. El que no sabe de amores, llorona, no sabe de amor. Dos besos tengo en el alma, llorona, y no se apartan de mí. Dos besos tengo en el alma, llorona, que no se apartan de mí. El último de mi madre, llorona, y el primero que te di. El último de mi madre, llorona, el primero que te di. Ay, de mi llorona, llorona, llévame al río. Ay, de mi llorona, llorona, llévame al río. Tápame con tu rebozo, llorona, porque me muero de frío. Tápame con tu rebozo, llorona, porque me muero de frío.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Again, my name is Marina Crouse, and I'm coming to you live from the sound room. And I'd like to introduce one more time Mr. Danny Caron on guitar. Yay! Ms. Ruth Davies on upright bass. And Mr. Jon Otis on conga and percussion. And thank all of you for tuning in. And I send you lots of love and big squishy hugs. You know how I like to squishy hug. And I hope I see you all in the real world soon. And I just want to say thank you so much, Caron and Robert, for having me and for having us and letting us bring you this new project of ours. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.